I'm Nick Cook and I play Captain Daniel Hunter, in addition to performing producer duties and writing duties and running around screaming like a headless chicken duties, which is probably my main job. I came to be involved with Intrepid basically because I was one of a bunch of people involved with the local fan club, and we got together one day because things were kind of running down and people weren't turning up, and we said, you know what, let's fold the club, but we need something to do. And Dylan Feeney suggested a fan film, so we thought it'll be fun. So we decided to do it, and we thought it would be an easy little thing that would be a bit of fun for a year or so, and it turned out to be an awful lot more work than we thought it would be. Lucy, turn this off because, I don't show you my credit card bill because you probably think it's like this. You don't want to know. No. I had done some amateur dramatics when I was kind of like late teens, early 20s, and some pantomime, and I'd enjoyed it a lot, and had actually considered studying acting but decided to go down the sciences route, and hadn't really done any for about 15 years before we started work on Intrepid. And I'd forgotten just how much I enjoyed doing it, so I'm very glad we do it. My favourite Star Trek show. It's changed a lot over the years. When I was younger, I was very much an original series fan, and I was one of those fans back in the 80s that said, no, you can't make Star Trek with other characters, Kirk is the captain. And yeah, actually now Star Trek The Next Generation's my favourite show, which is kind of ironic considering I hated it originally. That's a really hard one. Favourite Star Trek movie is probably a cross between either First Contact or, I hate to say it, but I really quite like Insurrection. But probably First Contact. And favourite movie overall? Oh, man, that's a hard one. Alien. Love Alien. Anything by John Carpenter, The Thing, Escape from New York, Assault on Precinct 13. The original Assault on Precinct 13 is a brilliant movie. I love that film. Yeah, anything by John Carpenter, Ridley Scott, Blade Runner. I don't think I know of any science fiction fans that don't love Blade Runner. It's something we've discussed. It could happen. Watch this space. I'd had some communications with James Cawley, and he was familiar with what I was doing, and he just kind of emailed me one day and said, we have this part in the next thing we're producing, it's Blood and Fire, and I think you'd be good for it. And I kind of went, okay, and he says, do you want to do it? I said, yeah! So we kind of flew out, and directed by David Gerald, who wrote The Trouble with Tribbles, and working with Denise Crosby. It was a very surreal experience. But yeah, basically James asked me. No one's ever asked me that before. Basically, I like the name Hunter. I was a huge Hill Street Blues fan when I was younger, and even though he was a bit of a dick, I really liked Howard Hunter. So I kind of took Hunter from him, and Daniel came from Daniel Jackson on Stargate. I like the Intrepid class quite a lot. It's one of my favourite ship designs, and we were deciding to use the name Intrepid for the series, so it was kind of a no-brainer. Very early on, we'd had some discussions with Rob about possibly doing a cameo with one of the characters, and we'd been in touch with him, and he said, yeah, sure. Originally, I'd had an idea about having Henglar on, and it basically involved, there was a medical problem and they needed to consult some records that on something Henglar had worked on, so they contacted him. That idea kind of went out the window, and I went in because I had the idea of using Shelby. And, I wrote the scene with Shelby and Rob liked it, so he said, yeah, we'll record that. There wasn't quite the same degree of kind of Shelby picking on Hunter quite as much as she does. Risha added a lot of that herself, but it worked very well, and we just kind of went with it, and people seem to like it. And we seem to keep revisiting that relationship. I don't know, it's fun. So we keep doing it. Never, never, ever, 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 ever. No. Sorry, no. No, no, no. We will be seeing more of the colonists, and we will be seeing more of the merchant service. I think it's important to distinguish between merchant service and merchant crews. The merchant service, they're not a military, but they are a uniformed service, a bit like the merchant marine we have today. But we will be seeing more of them. We'll be meeting a few more of the characters from the merchant service, and we'll certainly be meeting more of the colonists. Our next episode up, Dissonant Minds, we deal a little bit more with the relationship between Starfleet and the colonists. So you'll be seeing a little bit more of them, and hopefully we'll delve into that a little bit more. I'm gonna have to go with the majority and say the location shoot up Glendale for Transitions and Lamentations. Probably my favourite part of that, amongst my favourite parts of that, was, though it was hell at the time, was the shoot in the cave. It was freezing cold, it was pouring rain, the cave was not flooding, but it was full of very large puddles, and there was water dripping from the ceiling, and you can actually see it in the footage. But it was fun, and I enjoyed it, and probably the other great aspect was the campfires. We used to have fantastic campfires at night on these shoots, and you know, I specifically remember people dancing topless around the campfire. It may have been Steve Hammond, I may have wiped that thing from my memory, but there weren't topless people dancing around the campfires. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, I think I said quite enough already, actually. Yeah, I should probably shut up now.
As an actor, do you like the sound of your own voice?
Absolutely. I love the sound of my own voice. Actually, no, I hate my voice with a passion. If I could change my voice, I probably would. I would like a much more deeper, manly voice. Maybe something like Clint Eastwood. That sounds nothing like Clint Eastwood, but you kind of get the idea. I'd like to sound more like Clint Eastwood. Yeah.